There are finally some big changes that include some pretty big nerfs that are going to change the way Apex is played. I've talked from many people that have actually play tested season 20 earlier, and they all tell me that this game is going to be a totally different game. It feels totally different. It runs totally different. The meta's totally different, and everything that you know about Apex is more than likely about to change, not only because of the new perks and the new ways that legends work and the new armor changes, but also nerfs and buffs as well. So let's go ahead and dive in and talk about what's going on in the Apex Legends news scene today. If you guys want to stay up to date with what's going on, then of course like the video, subscribe to the channel, and without further ado, let's dive into what's going on. Firstly, wanted to mention just a little bit of a side topic. Purchasing the season 20 battle pass will not actually be required to complete the reactive top tier flatline challenges. So essentially this flatline is going to be free. So very interesting stuff, and not normally what Respawn is up to, but Hypermist did say it was confirmed, so we'll just have to wait and see. Also wanted to mention, let's talk about some of these things are pretty big, from input types to weapons. Firstly, the Hemlock AR is getting nerfed with season 20. Personally a big fan of this, and I've been waiting for this to happen. Also, the 30-30 repeater will be nerfed in season 20, another thing that we have been looking for and I'm very happy about as well. Shout out to Respawn for that change. But one of the bigger ones that I know you guys might not be too fond of, Have Tweets, which is the quality designer over at Apex Legends, did retweet a response coming from one of Respawn's developers regarding what's going on with aim assist. We did get confirmation that with 120 hertz coming to Apex Legends, 0.6 aim assist is not going to be a thing anymore for console when performance mode is enabled. So basically Jens comes out to say that aim assist is adjusted when performance mode is enabled to accommodate for differences in tick rate. So someone had commented and asked, if you enable performance mode on your console, is aim assist reduced? And the answer was yes. So if you are enabling your 120 FPS, you are not going to be able to abuse 0.6 any longer. You are now going to be on 0.4 just like the rest of us on PC. So there's a little bit of an aim assist update and nerf, I guess you could say, if you want to call it. So despite if you're fond of this or not, it is the right decision. If you're evening that playing field out with the FPS and the, you know, the boost that PC has normally with how much better FPS that you can get, then yes, you do need to start balancing things out in other areas as well. This makes total sense. And not only that, it's only when performance mode is enabled. So if you have it disabled because you're not getting 120 FPS and you want to go back to 60 or whatever, then you can get your 0.6 back. Also, let's talk about some of these things that are in the future and things that are still in development as well. This was actually gameplay that you could see coming from Game Informer of a brand new Apex map that, by the way, is not fully textured yet, but is actually in the development stage. And I would assume this is more than likely going to be the brand new district map that we thought we were going to be getting in this season, but it doesn't turn out to be the case. But I do think this map obviously still looks pretty cool in the early development stages that we have. And personally, can I just say, I'm actually a fan of this non-textured stuff. It looks like a paintball arena. I really would like to see something like this in the future as well. And I'm not necessarily a big hater on all the terrain and whatever, but I do think that this little cartoony vibe or not so serious vibe is really cool. And it kind of reminds me of a map from Black Ops 2. But anyways, I would really like to see stuff like that in the future. But that is a map that is in development. Also in development, Apex Legends did leak out their brand new legend. We did get the leak that it was going to be a skirmisher, but now we know and saw pictures of the brand new legend. I don't know if they meant to do this as like a funny teaser or if it was just complete accident, but you could see the brand new legend down on the bottom right. And according to some other leaked photos, it looks like the name of this legend could be Alter. Very interesting stuff, and we'll obviously have to take a look and see how this plays out. But I'm a fan because I do think that these skirmisher type legends tend to be a little bit more fun comparing to Pathfinder, Wraith, Octane, Horizon. These are your movement and your crazy legends, and I really would like to see another fun legend, and so it's really exciting that that is in the works. Also wanted to mention the public outcry, I guess, demeanor, what's going on. How do fans and pros feel about this? With all the rank changes, despite not having a new map, a new legend, or a new gun, it seems like the public sentiment is actually very positive. Now, of course, these are your big pros that ask for a lot of these changes, but we'll start it off with a few, including the biggest creator in Apex, Imperial House. Starting off with the Apex Legends professional coach for Furia, now known as JMeyels, used to be PvP, says season 20 Apex Legends is finally back. Ranked has a decent chance of succeeding if it's not blatantly ignored again. Nasky also says season 20 is going to be the biggest game change ever, and I'm excited. Imperial Hell also said season 20 is what I've been preaching for Apex to do for so long, and they finally did it. Big actual changes for the game in so many ways, and I'm so hyped to play it. He also said that he did not play test it. John Larson also came out with these legend upgrades, and of course this is a little bit longer of a topic that I wanted to discuss. This just came out minutes ago, and he goes into detail to explain what's going on, so buckle up because there is a lot to read. He says legends upgrade: I played the first game of Apex 5 years ago. Now I'm shipping my first major feature on my favorite game of all time. Here we go. Upgrades were a huge multi-team effort, a collaboration between world systems, weapons and loot, and legends to revitalize the core battle royale loop. I'll focus this write-up on the primary piece I played a role in, the legend upgrades themselves. In early ideation, I was one of the biggest skeptics of legend upgrades. In a sea of ever-shifting variables and the randomness of battle royale, legends were the constant, obviously, that they had. Why are we elevating their importance and introducing more variability in our already complex shooter? After seeing the early playtest feedback on upgrades related to cognitive load and readability, basically saying like, you know, how frustrated do you get playing? Does it get too confusing and all of this stuff? We basically were reminded on our first day of dropping into Kings Canyon. I saw smoke on the battlefield and wondered why I hadn't looted a smoke grenade yet. I watched ALGS over the weekend. Turns out that's a legend ability. The cognitive load problem in Apex is real, and I do agree with that. Upgrades aside, while upgrades definitely don't make things easier in this regard, early mantra was basically to make sure that we didn't make this notably worse. However, we didn't want this concern to prevent us from exploring further legend upgrades and specialization, especially given our learnings from class perks. Upgrades should not massively shift how you play and counterplay a legend. Every legend has the same toolbox of abilities. Upgrades influence on how you use those tools. Rampart has a wrench, hammer, and tape measure in her toolbox. Upgrades absolutely should not warp one of those things into a screwdriver. An upgrade might allow you to tighten bolts 10% faster with your wrench, but don't think that that changes things too much in forms of counterplay. I shouldn't be the norm, but in some cases I think it's okay to add a tool to a toolbox. Toolboxes in Apex are already organized in different ways. Revenant already has multiple passives, Pathfinder has like half of one, and I'd argue Catalyst has 2 tacticals, etc. So upgrades are breaking any standards here. I think he meant to say it's not breaking any standards. He says if a tool is being added like self-revive, it better be made clear it's a possibility. In Lifeline's case, if you shoot her and she now has a purple armor, you know that that's an option for her to have self-revive. And I love that because that was one of my biggest problems with the digital threat is you don't know that they have digital threats. So you don't know if it's safe to push that smoke. And so there's nothing you can do as far as being a good player to actually vent and figure out if they have a digital threat or not. So now that they're trying to give the player more information, I really do like this change and I like the approach that they're taking. So they go on to say how/when that should be broadcasted further is up for debate, and ability and context are obviously dependent here. Legends are the lifeblood of Apex. Ultimately, upgrades are a way to add customization and shrink to the legends without compromising core abilities. Legends encapsulate so many personalities, and while everyone has access to the same toolbox, players express themselves differently. The goal of an upgrade is to tap into those differences, and we want players to feel empowered to build out their support or assault oriented gibby, for example, to grow their legend over the course of a match, and similar vein to loot weapon progression as well. Legends are now a variable, and I'm eager to see how that opens the door to theory crafting and team comps. Upgrades unlock legend depth, and we've put in so much care in creating options that are on brand and relevant to the play patterns that already exist for each legend. Play patterns that we have shown as players over the last 5 years. Lastly, legend upgrades give us a new lever for balancing, and if you're not already happy with the upgrades on your legend breakout, don't worry, these are flexible and subject to change and require less overhead than fundamentally working a new core ability for a legend. Or try out another legend. You may have an upgrade more in line with your preferences, and I'll be getting reps in, watching streams, and looking at the data early and often. I'll see you February 13th, and there is an explanation to why they decided to do what they did and how they're actually monitoring what they're doing as well with all of these new legend perks. Now, if you guys have not seen the legend perks already, there are a lot. They go into depth. I just decided to link a video down below that kind of shows all of these guys if you want to go check it out. So let me know what you guys are thinking about all the topics in today's video. Like, subscribe if you want to stay up to date with what's going on. We're going to be live on the day of launch playing with a friend of mine over at EA and another friend of mine that I've played some tournaments with in the past as well. So of course, tune in right here on YouTube if you guys want to watch. And until the next time, we'll see you all later, Gators.